Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So, welcome to another market open stream. Of course, there are a lot more things to talk about, including why Bitcoin won't quit rising. Last night, we broke a little higher, and there are many reasons for it. So, let's talk about why Bitcoin continues to rise up, why it's just a matter of time before we break into all-time high territory and everything else that's going on in the world today. All right, let's do it, guys. Welcome. We are starting out the day pretty good. We're starting out the day at 106.7. And last night, we went up as high as 108, which means we were only $1,000 away from our previous high. And everything else is following. Everything else is in the green today. Bitcoin continues to go higher. And that's despite today being a pretty red day. You can see Dow starting out minus 300, and you know what? The stocks don't look that bad, at least the ones related to crypto. But we'll see how today goes. The biggest story on why today markets are going red is due to this. Our Treasury yield is going up, skyrocketing. The 30-year is above 5. 10-year is above 4.5. And, normally when you look at numbers, you would think higher numbers is good. No, it's not good in this case. When you have extremely high yield, it's not good consumers. It's not good for businesses. And it's certainly not good for our country. And the reason why is because there's weakness. There are less people looking to buy U.S. bonds right now. And that's the reason why the interest is going up. Because think about it, there's a lot of demand. You don't need to pay people so much interest. You only need to pay them when there's not enough demand. And that's what's happening right now. According to Robert Kiyosaki, he does exaggerate, but this is what he said today. What if you threw a party and no one showed up? This is what happened yesterday. The Fed held an auction for U.S. bonds and no one showed up. So the Fed quietly bought $50 billion of its own fake money with fake money. The party's over. Hyperinflation is here. Millions young and old to be wiped out financially. Good news, gold will go to 25,000, silver to 70, and Bitcoin to 500 to a million. So I did a little research into this. Is he correct? Well, it doesn't seem like I didn't find anything yesterday. But I did find how on May 8th, the U.S. did have an auction, and it was pretty weak. U.S. had to sell bonds at a higher interest rate than anticipated. And today, there's another auction going on. So this may be what he's talking about. But nevertheless, when this happens, it's not a good thing. And it's not good for consumers either because, like mortgages, for example, will start going up. Car loans will start going up. Credit cards, anything that has an interest rate will start going up because they're all kind of based on, either the Fed fund rate or the prime rate or a 10-year rate, some kind of rate, and it's not good when they go up. Japan also just had the same thing happen. Japan's yields are skyrocketing too because no one wants their bonds. This is the worst case scenario for a country. And I talk a lot about the U.S., but it's really worldwide, every country. Every country is in deep debt, has huge deficits, and one of the reasons why they're able to survive is they're able to issue bonds, which essentially allows these countries to borrow money. But what happens when they can't borrow money? What if no one is buying their bonds and no one is lending them money that they need? Guess what happens? Those countries are forced to start printing money, right, to supplement. If you can't borrow it, then you have to create your own. But what happens when you create your own money? There's inflation. And then it leads to hyperinflation because now no one wants your fiat anymore. So that's what's happening. Okay. And obviously all the tariff stuff, you know, isn't helping other countries right now. I don't think it's even helping US with exports either. So you combine all that, it's not looking so bright right now. But how does this relate to Bitcoin? Well, it relates because the people that are embracing, or the companies that are embracing Bitcoin, is having the opposite effect of bonds. People want to buy Bitcoin. People want to buy Bitcoin ETFs. People want to buy stocks of company that have exposure to Bitcoin. That's the difference. It's a complete 180. Here's a chart of Metaplanet, the hottest company of Japan right now. Their stock will not stop, and that's because they implement a Bitcoin strategy. Even Saylor is commenting on it because Metaplanet is absolutely going insane in Japan. It's probably like the only thing that's going for them right now. I'm just kidding. There's a lot of other things going, but this is something that people can't ignore, right? When you embrace Bitcoin strategy, it's a winning strategy. And more companies are following because they're paying attention. Saylor kind of kickstarted off. According to Bitcoin historian, you have this $5.8 billion investment from Northrock that just revealed they bought their very first Bitcoin. I don't know the exact amount though, but it's happening. Here's another one, an $8.6 billion wealth management company that also bought Bitcoin. Right? Every single day now, there seems to be a story, a report, or a filing that shows someone new worth billions or hundreds of billions or trillions under asset is getting involved, right? And this is exactly why Bitcoin was actually created. Not for these big players to get in, but it was created for people that wants to opt out of our current financial situation, right? With the Fed, with the monetary policy, with inflation, with all that stuff. If you want to opt out, you opt in something better, Bitcoin. And now, after 15 years, you have the big boys all jumping in. This is why we are going higher. We're not making huge jumps right now, but we're slowly trending up. And those huge jumps are around the corner. Remember a few days ago, I showed this about James Wynn. He had a 40x position on Bitcoin. This was a few days ago. And so far, that 40x has done pretty well. He's up 54%, up about $10 million within like 2 days. That's a gutsy play, but it's working. I guess when you know, you just know. Sometimes you get that feeling that things are going to go higher, things are going to improve. Well, you know what? Sometimes it's not luck. Sometimes you have to just put it all together and you realize that we are ready. Like last night, we went up to 108. We kind of stopped and we fell back down. The reason probably for that is because we have $1.1 billion worth of shorts. That's right around the 108,000 mark. From 108 going up to 110, you could see there are a lot of shorts waiting to be liquidated. Above 110, there's like nothing. So the sky's the limit. When we break through, and we will soon, we're like right around 107. We're not that far off from 108. Once we hit 108 and beyond, get ready. We are going to make that huge jump forward. We are so close. And again, you don't even have to guess. Because if you just look at what's happened before, it's always the same story. You know, you have very strong accumulation, which means that Bitcoin jumps to a certain high or new level, and then we stay there and accumulate for a little bit, and then we make another jump. It's the same story over and over and over again, especially in a bull market, and that's what we're in. We've been going sideways now for a little bit, a few months now. We're getting ready for that next leg upwards, right? That's how it works. It's always like that. And here's another thing that's helping the situation is the global M2 money supply. It is skyrocketing. It keeps on going up. We're at the same level now basically as 2022, going back 3 years. And whenever you have quantitative easing like this, where countries around the world are starting to print money, generally speaking, that's a good thing. Bitcoin is highly correlated with liquidity, like the M2 money supply. Okay, it always has been. It makes sense when there's money flowing, people are going to do something with that money. And based on how Bitcoin has been tracking the M2 money supply, okay, there's like I think like a 90-day lag or something like that. But this person put it all together. If we are tracking the M2 money supply, because there is a lag, however, you could see how we do follow it almost to a T. If that's the case, by the end of this month, especially if we break into all-time high, right? We're not that far off, and there's like nothing holding us above 110. By the end of this month, we could be hitting that new high, that new level of $127,000, which is in range. A lot of other charts show that that's the next level, right around there, between 120 and 140. And if we're still tracking M2 money supply, we're not going to stop there. June 23rd, we may be at 150. July, 174. End of July, 180. Does that mean we're going to be at our top? Maybe, maybe not. A lot of people think that we will hit above 200,000 this cycle, possibly hitting 250,000. And now there are predictions that we may even go higher, maybe even 300, 400, $500,000 by the end of this cycle because of all the macro stuff that's happening. There are people that are driving people and companies to Bitcoin. This cycle may end up being unlike any other cycle previously. There will probably be more millionaires made this cycle than any other previous cycle. It's going to be amazing. Amazing. And look at this. $2 billion worth of USDT just minted now. Why do you think that is? Someone put 2 billion or a cumulative 2 billion more of cash was deposited into Tether, and they're getting ready to buy. Buy. I mean, look at how beautiful this is. We just keep on going up and up and up right now since that April low. Okay, that's our local low from the last few months where we dropped down to the 70s. Just look at the stair step upwards. It's just beautiful. Beautiful. And those of you guys that DCA'd and hodled, well, obviously you're feeling pretty good. And it's not just Bitcoin. Like today, Ethereum is up in a big way. You got SUI up, XRP up, Solana up, ADA up, Avalanche up. I mean, everything's going up. Even like memes like Pepe's up, Bonk's up. Today's looking like it's a good day, and we are pushing higher. If we break above that 108, like I mentioned, there is 1.1 billion worth of shorts waiting to be liquidated above 108, and there's not that much liquidity going up to 109, 110. So it could be a very, very explosive day today. And this is despite the fact that, you know, U.S. market is opening in red right now. But MicroStrategy's up, Robinhood's up, Coinbase is up, all the usual players related to crypto are up, so looking pretty good. All right. Let's do some Q&A. All right, let's see. OKC smoked the Wolves last night. Yeah, no one wants to see OKC win. It will be NBA's worst nightmare. What level do you think Bitcoin needs to reach to ensure a good altcoin season? I think at least like 150. I think Bitcoin at least has to hit 150 as a top. Let's say it just stood at 150 and it didn't go any higher. I think that's a good level for altcoin season. Obviously, the higher Bitcoin goes, the better the altcoin season will be. If we top out at 250 this cycle, altcoin season will be even better. If we go to like 500,000 for Bitcoin, altcoin season will be crazy. Yuval asked a weird question. George, if you had a buddy that was having a bachelor's party, would your wife mind if you stayed overnight at a penthouse they rented at a casino? I would say most wives would have a problem with that. So I think that answers your question. And speaking of Vegas, Bitcoin conference is next week. It's going to be the most explosive Bitcoin conference ever in history. Bitcoin will be at an all-time high. And man, and it's in Vegas. It's going to be nuts. Am I going to XRP Las Vegas? I did not know XRP had anything going on. No one from the XRP team ever reaches out to me asking me to go to XRP conference. But I would go if I had time. I know in previous years they kind of hid it really well for some reason. I don't even know why they would hide it. And we are moving up pretty good. Pretty good right now. Fundmaster, do you believe in Bitcoin 4-year cycle, and do you think it still exists? It's always going to exist because of the halving event. That'll never go away. The only thing I think will not exist anymore is crypto winter. I don't think after this year we fall into crypto winter anymore. I think we just continue to go. We may have consolidation points, we may have little dips, but I think we just keep on going and going and going. Yeah, I heard Senator Loomis won't talk to Garlinghouse anymore. I wonder what's the story behind that, or if that's even real. Maybe because, you know, they tricked Trump to put out that tweet about putting XRP into strategic reserve, and maybe that's the reason. I don't know. Gotcha. Thank you. I heard, yes, Justin's son is the top Trump coin holder. So he would definitely be going to the White House dinner. Although a lot of people are having problems with that. Justin's son just does everything for attention. He bought that stupid banana. And now, of course, he buys all this Trump coins. You know, he just does everything. I guess if you have the money, you might as well. Take the power back. Doesn't Bitcoin price retrace during conference week? No. Sometimes it does, but it's not guaranteed. It's usually during crypto winter, during the bad years that happens. This year during Token 2049, nothing happened with Bitcoin's price. I don't expect anything to happen with Bitcoin next week, other than probably head into new high territory, which I think is going to happen this week already. Last week, I kind of thought that we were going to make moves last week. Didn't. So I may be 1 week off. But I think this week, it's looking like we will get back to 109 and break through. And I think it's going to continue into next week. I guess we'll see. Someone asked about Stacks. Stacks having a very good day today. Up about 7%. I covered Stacks last night and this new concept, Bitcoin Fi, BTC Fi. And a lot of players are involved with that. Stacks is being one of the biggest. But there are a lot of players that are creating bridges or L2s specifically to bring more usage to Bitcoin. So I think Stacks is going to benefit greatly from that move. What do you think about metals now? I sold all of my stocks. Yeah, I mean, this is the reason why I don't hold any gold. I just don't see any reason to. I'd much rather hold Bitcoin above gold. New type, I have no idea what that is. If you look at trending coins today, Trump is leading. And then you have Pi. Man, Pi is just, I don't trust Pi. I lost a whole bunch of money trying to trade Pi. The movement is so not natural. But what is natural is this movement right now. We're really close back to 108. Oof, we're going to have a lot of liquidations past 108. Let's bring up the liquidation chart here. Yeah, you got clusters, especially at 108.6. Man, once we move past here to 110, it'll look good. Sam, you know, you can make that argument gold has been around for thousands of years. But, you know, rocks have been around thousands of years. Trees have been around thousands of years. It's a natural, you know, it's a natural mineral, right? Of course, it's going to be around thousands of years. But that doesn't mean it makes it the best investment there is. There's always something that's better, and there's reasons for that. And I don't think it's better than gold. I mean, Bitcoin. There are so many inherent reasons why Bitcoin is better, but I get there's always just uneasiness that, oh, it's, you know, Bitcoin is not physical. You can hold a bar of gold. You can hold gold coins in your hands and it feels real because you could feel it. But man, these days everything's digital. Your bank account is digital. All payments are digital. You know, credit cards, obviously. Checks even though you're writing something, it's all done, settled electronically. Everything's digital. It's a digital world. And this notion that, oh, okay, if we like have Armageddon or we have a power outage or there's an EMP bomb and all this stuff that would like knock down the grid. Well, if that happened, gold is still going to be worthless. It's not like gold's value is going to go up. If we had Armageddon, you think anyone cares about gold bars at that point? No. Then there's other things to worry about, like water and shelter and food and ammunition. Guns, bullets will be the new currency, not gold. I just don't see anything that will make it a stronger investment going forward than Bitcoin. You guys have I've been watching the spin-off series of The Walking Dead. I know they've been out for a while. Have you guys ever thought about like you want to live in a world where it's like Armageddon and you just want to like, you know, scavenge for like food and stuff like that, and it's like the Wild West. People are like, you don't know there's a zombie that's around the corner, or like people are out there trying to kill you. You guys ever like think about a life like that? How easy and simplistic it is. You don't have to worry about making money, going to a job. You just worry about surviving. There's something appealing to that. David says, I live near Baltimore. I already live like that. I didn't know how bad it was by Baltimore. Well, that's a good point. Most people buying gold are not even buying physical gold. They're buying through ETFs. That's 100% right. And you can't even like, you know, you can't even redeem it even if you wanted to. It's just all paper gold. Oh, a little. You know, the only thing that I don't like about this nothing to do with crypto, but you know, since it's on my mind. The only thing I don't like about zombie movies or shows, because it's unrealistic. First of all, yes, I know they're zombies, but let's just assume for granted there's some disease that can make people into zombies. It's not like the zombies can walk around and stay undead forever. They still need an energy source, right? And their bodies still break down. So that's the thing that doesn't make any sense. If there were zombies, after a certain amount of time, 6 months or 12 months or whatever, if they haven't eaten anything, they would be so weak or decomposed or have no energy. They couldn't walk around anymore. They can't go around trying to eat people. It doesn't make any sense. Like, you know, you figure after a year or something, all the zombies would just basically be dead. That's the one thing that always troubled me about like these zombie movies or shows. Like in Walking Dead, it's been like 10 years, 20 years, and they still find random zombies walking around. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. They would all be dead already. Slow zombies are fine. Fast zombies are scary ones. Yeah, that's also true. Zombies in theory shouldn't be able to run. They're not coordinated. They shouldn't be coordinated. They're basically brainless. Cardano's having a good day, up 4%. I asked AI. AI said zombies will only last a few weeks without energy source. Yes. You know, it's just it's fun to think about. Watch the first episode of Last of Us. It's more realistic zombie scenario, and it debunks your energy source theory. The first episode of the first season, I think I did watch it, and it was so boring I just like stopped watching it. I couldn't get into that show. A lot of shows start out really strong, but some shows start out so slow, it just like there's no way you could get into it. I did watch Game of Thrones. It was excellent until the last season. I don't think I ever finished season 2 of House of the Dragon, or season 3. It's season 2. I don't even recall if I watched season 2 of House of the Dragon because the show is just not the same. I don't know why they made a stupid prequel on yeah, on the Targaryens or whatever. Like no one cares. They should have just made a sequel. You know, they opened it up. Game of Thrones could have been continued. Um, who's that little kid? Well, she's not little anymore. The one that killed the Night King, right? She like went on a ship going east. They could have just continued that, and then they could continue to show Bran as king or whatever, even though him as king is a horrible choice. Show Stark or whatever. I mean, they could continue that if they wanted to. Um, Westworld started out really awesome, and then it ended really horribly. It went in a totally different direction no one wanted it to go. Westworld, the last season of Westworld was like unrecognizable. Like it had nothing to do with how the show started. It was actually, in fact, quite horrible. But I'm pretty sure in like the next 50 years, we will probably have a theme park like Westworld, where it's all robots and we wouldn't be able to tell them apart. You know, there's a theory that Bran was the Night Walker in the Game of Thrones because he could travel through time. He was actually seeing himself in the future, um, or something like that. And it makes sense. The actor who plays the Night King, the White Walker King, or whatever, the Night King, looks exactly like Bran. Celine asked, do you think Tesla pulls off the Optimus bot within the next 5 years? I certainly hope so. I saw one at a Tesla dealership in Vancouver, I think. It looks cool. I don't know if it'll ever be useful around the household. If it becomes useful, then yes, I will buy one, and I know many people will buy one. Gym World, that's where it's heading to. For sure. All right, guys. On that note, let's call it a stream. It's looking good. It's looking real good today. We may be breaking up above 108. Let's go liquidate a lot of shorts, but ultimately there are a lot of reasons why Bitcoin continues to head higher. A lot of people are starting to recognize it's the best. It's the best out there. So continue to stay strong, HODL and DCA. And stay tuned for tonight. You know, if we break an all-time high territory, then obviously I'm going to have to do a live stream tonight. We'll do a DCA look at the portfolio. It's going to be good. So let's see what happens later today. Smash the like. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Have a good one, guys. Take care.